So it's me, I'm back again. Yeah, so I figured out the best scenario, the best way to present this. I can see the comments at the same time, share the screen over here while I'm working on it. So I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I wanted to show you guys the Kickstarter page that I'm working on. Still got some ways to go. But in the meantime, I think what I'll do is I'll kind of go through some of the basics or show you guys some behind the scenes of how a Kickstarter page is set up. So when you first start, a lot of this information is just blank, and you're starting from scratch. Usually, the best thing to do is set up all this. You go to like the payments tab and set all of that up. You link your credit card and your bank account so you can actually receive payments. This is where you go to actually click that. So definitely have to have a bank account that they can drop your money into once your campaign is successful and you're ready to get that money. Then we have the promotions tab, pretty straightforward. Usually this is where you actually create the link to the actual Kickstarter profile, but all that stuff is pretty cool or basic stuff. So um, let's take a quick look at the preview page. So yeah, uh, we've got, this is a preview of the Kickstarter page itself. Now, if you guys go here, you won't be able to see this exact page. This is an actual behind the scene look at all the things that's going to be there when it launches. Right now, when you go to the link in my profile, you'll see a page that says, hey, notify me. Well, let's say this project hasn't launched yet, but notify me when it does launch. So that's what you'll see. You won't see this. This is my view because I created the Kickstarter page and I get a different view of the page. But yeah, let's take a quick look at the page. This is the image I have, and behind this is a video. Initially, I wasn't going to do a video for this project, but there's this stat that says 80% of successful Kickstarter pages has a video. So I decided, you know what, let me just hop on and create a video real quick. So I created a video for this campaign last night. It was pretty straightforward. I didn't want to do anything super fancy. I just wanted to point the camera and talk about the project. So this is this is me talking about the project. Kept it pretty straightforward. I didn't want to spend too much time on it. I wanted to just connect with the audience, let them know about the story, about the book, who I am, and a little inside information. So as you can see, the video is 41 seconds long, but this 41 second video took me a while to do. It took a long time, but it was done. So I'm glad I did it. It was worth the effort. And while I was creating this video, I realized like this was the opportunity for me to explain one of the things that I didn't explain earlier, which is in my text or in my story here. So I went and I explained it, and that's the fact that issue number 5 is a prequel, right? So it takes place before it takes place before the events of issues number 1 through 4. So you can actually read issue number 5 without necessarily reading the first 4 issues, which I think is pretty cool, right? So if you love the story in issue number 5, you could definitely hop on and read the previous books. But if not, you can just start from there and not necessarily have to read the first 4 issues. So I think that was pretty cool advantage. Something that I never really thought of until I was actually making this video, and I was like, you know what, let me point that out because there may be a lot of people who are hesitant in hopping on the series while at issue number 5. So I thought that was something important to point out. So I'm glad I made this video, kind of helped me think through that process and realize that that's something that I can highlight to people who are new to Crescent City Monsters. And if they're a little hesitant in starting at issue number 5, they didn't have to worry. So yeah, this is the This is the cover A for Crescent City Monsters. Issue number 5. I wanted to do a Game of Thrones cover because the story is called Crescent City Monsters: The Rise of Kingsley. And Kingsley, the way he goes about gaining power is, to me, it feels sort of Game of Thrones-ish. So I wanted to give a nod to that kind of the idea that he's seeking ultimate power and he'll do anything to gain that power. So I wanted to kind of, and I think Gian did a great job at kind of not replicating, but giving a homage to the Game of Thrones. So this is here just a stack of bones. I'm trying to figure out, is this a dragon bone? I don't know, but yeah, Gian did a great job here. Shout out to Gian and the colors here. His cloner, amazing job. So this is cover A, and it was absolutely great. And while I was going through this, I was really trying to figure out some variant covers to do, and it took me a while to figure out, hey, let's do some Sinners variant cover, and I thought, that'd be really great. But I'll show you that a little bit later. So this here is the story. Usually what I try to do here is I try to make sure I tell people what the story is about so it could grab their attention. One of the things I also do is I put these in bold. I put these bold letters in because just plain text, sometimes while you're trying to read through it, it may fatigue the eye. So what I try to do is make sure that I add these little bits of bold in it so it can kind of help people stay focused as they're reading. But yeah, let me know in the chat if you think the bold letters actually help or they're distracting in reading the text. I hope they help because it's something that I think is really helpful, especially when you have a block of text like this and your eyes is reading. I think this helps focuses your attention to as you're reading the book, the paragraph. So yeah, and then I described the book. One of my pet peeves is when I'm looking at this Kickstarter project is when they don't list the number of pages. So I make sure that I list the number of pages for my book when I'm doing a Kickstarter so they know that, hey, this is going to be a 52-page book. And so as you can see, I highlight that this is a 52-page book and it's in full color. And of course, I highlight full color, and usually most people take it for granted that the comic book is for full color. So usually they don't mention that. But because Crescent City Monsters, the first 4 issues was in black and white, I definitely want to highlight that so that people who are familiar with the story in the book and they're used to the black and white grayscale know that the next issue number 5, will be in full color. So that's something new, and I'm excited to bring. And as you can see, the color is Cloner. He does an amazing job with the coloring. I'm going to be really excited when this book is finished and colored and lettered, and I can present it to you guys. So that's going to be super dope. Again, the colors is Cloner, and as always, the amazing Jean Carlo Bernal is the one who illustrates this book. As you can see, these guys together, they're killing it. This is so sweet right here. I love this. So yeah, and then I point out too, like I pointed out previously, that issue number 5 is a prequel. So the events in issue number 5 takes place before the events of issues 1 through 4. So because it's a prequel, if you're new to Crescent City Monsters and you're afraid like, hey, I'm not going to know what's going on if I just hop on the 5th issue, well, you don't have to worry about that because since the 5th issue is a prequel, you don't have to necessarily read the first 4 issues to enjoy and understand what's going on in this book, which I think really is a really great selling point for people who are just joining the book and they may not want to jump into buying the whole into the whole series just yet. They want to test the waters on the fifth issue. They can do that, and it's a great starting off point too. So as you can see, we've got the first page of Crescent City Monsters. If you guys are familiar with the story, this is Queenie. So the story kind of starts that. So it's going to be lettered. She's got a whole dialogue of things that she's saying. So it kind of introduces the story of like where we're going with it, and then the second and third page. This is an actual splash page. It's a spread page. This is pages 2 and 3. So if you can imagine the margin going down the middle right here, this is page 2, and this is page 3. Again, Jean did an amazing job with this page. I wanted a page where I can include some text that describes what's going to happen in the story. At the same time, I wanted some space to give credits to both the artists and colorists and the editors and everybody else who worked on the book and helped me make Crescent City Monsters issue number 5 as great as it is. So I wanted a really dramatic page, something that just kind of describes the story too visually, because this is Kingsley right here, and this is the throne that you see in cover A, and as you can see, he's actually making his way up the hill. And the cool thing about what I plan to do is issue number 6, Kingsley is going to be a little bit closer to the throne as he's climbing, and then issue number 7, he's going to either be sitting on the throne or even closer to the throne. So as the story progresses, in page, it's going to be the same spread, but you're going to see Kingsley getting closer to the throne. So that's an idea that I was like, yo, let me kind of implement that. So, and again, that's a pretty cool idea, and I love the splash page too. Like I said, it describes the story of Kingsley as he makes his way into power. And of course, if you're familiar with the story, the mysterious tentacles are in the background. So again, the colorist and Gian did an incredible job. I can't say this enough. I'm going to be like super excited to have this book printed and available to you guys. So, and I think it's going to be really dope. I'm glad, and to be honest, I'm glad it took me this long to find just the right colors, because I think Cloner does an amazing job at actually, complementing Jean's artwork, because I wanted to find a colorist that doesn't how can I say this doesn't for lack of a better word, I guess, downgrade his artwork. So I wanted a colorist where either he makes the artwork look as great as it does in black and white, or even better. And I think this looks even better. So this is just beautiful right here. So yeah, this is the spread page. So these are the first 2 sample pages that we have. There's Gene right now is still working on the book. I believe he's on to page 20 or so. So I've got some work to do. The book is going to be about 54 pages. On the Kickstarter, I write 52 pages, but that's because recently I just added a couple more pages to the script, because as I was reading and Gian was giving me some of the books, the pages as he was coming along, I realized, like, you know what, I need to squeeze in 2 more pages just to smoothen out the story. And it's crazy too, because as Gene is sending me the pages and I'm looking at it, you could sometimes I make adjustments based on the visual aspects of the book, and sometimes there are changes that need to be done that you don't realize until you actually see the pages drawn. So because it's a different experience when you're writing the pages and you can visually see the pages, as opposed to when the artist gives you the page and you're like, oh, okay, well, there are things that you may see or the artist exposes visually that you never thought about, and then you realize like, hey, you know what, maybe we should add this or we should subtract that. So the whole process is pretty cool. So um, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, even though I have 52 I write that the book is 52 pages, and the Kickstarter I just recently added a couple more pages, so the book is going to be 54 pages. And it's going to be, actually, it's going to be more than that, because usually when, well, not usually, but when you create a comic book, the page numbers have to be in increments of 4, just because you have the back and forth and the way it's structured. So uh, instead of 54, it would have to be 50, at least 56 pages. So the way that works usually is, if the story is 54 pages, but you need 56, usually you add some extra artwork or pinups at the back and fill it up that way. So um, so yeah, it's going to be a 54 page book. Pretty excited about that. The one thing I have to figure out is, and maybe somebody who's listening right now on the chat, is that I'm trying to decide whether I should make it staple bound or not, or if I should make it perfect bound. Because if it was staple bound at 54 pages, that's pretty thick, and I'm kind of worried that it'd be too thick and it would kind of feel awkward flipping through that many pages on a staple bound book. And regular comic books are staple bound, and then of course you have things like graphic novels, which are perfect bound. Like Keisha here is perfect bound, right? No staples. But at the same time, if I do perfect bound, I'm not sure if those are enough pages where it's not awkward reading through the staple bound. So I have to figure that out. But it should be super dope. So, and this section of the Kickstarter is the preview pages. These are, well, not the preview pages, but the variant covers. So I wanted to have some homage covers to Sinners. And it took me a while to come up with the ideas of Sinners homage covers. Now, I'm sure there are other Sinners homage covers around, but I haven't, I'm not aware of any. So, so that's why it took a while for me to come up with the ideas of doing Sinners homage covers for Crescent City Monsters. And of course, I had to go with the this one here, which is the movie poster that everyone's pretty familiar with, where Michael B. Jordan is standing pretty much in this pose, but instead he's got a gun in his hands. And I came up, we were kind of going back and forth. Originally, Jonas was going to have a guitar in his hands, because instead of a gun, because the guitar is the thing that he feels closest to. And I figured that when you looked at when I was thinking about the Sinners homage cover, Michael B. Jordan is holding his gun. The character, I think symbolically, he's holding the gun because that's where his power comes from, right? Or that's the thing that he feels closest to, or that's what he identifies with. So when I saw that, I was like, you know what, let's replace the gun with a guitar. So Gian was we had the guitar, and then but then there was like problems with trying to figure out how he was gonna hold the guitar, and because I was looking at it and I was like, it looks kind of awkward this way, and we were like switching it up, and it wasn't as smooth as I thought it was going to be. But then I realized, like, wait a minute, besides music, Jonas's supernatural powers also identifies who he is. So instead of a gun, I was like, well, let's make Jonas's hands glow in order to show his powers, that his powers is his weapon, as opposed to, how Michael B. Jordan is holding the gun in his right hand. Jonas is going to be holding, displaying his supernatural powers with one hand. So we went with that. And initially, I was like, when Gene actually illustrated that, I was like, oh, this is dope. It's gonna come out great. So I told Kelowna, the colorist, I was like, hey, make sure Jonas's hands glow. And I'm telling him like, hey, I want this really super glowy, like really powerful, so you can see his hands glow and it's obvious. And da da da. And then Cloner came back and he did this. This is pretty much like pretty much the opposite of what I wanted. But when he came back and did this, I was like, whoa. I was like, this is even. I was like, you know what? This is even better. And that's one of the things I like about working with people who are really into creating comics, especially people like Gene and Cloner. Like I could tell them like, hey, this is what I want, but at times they'll use their own judgments and say, I know this is what you want, but I think this works out better. And they'll show me, and which is good because sometimes if they ask me, I might be like, nah, I just stick to what I said. But sometimes they'll like come up and like show me something that I didn't ask for, and a lot of times because they're so good at what they do, or what they came up with is better. And so I thought this was a lot better. It just looks smoother, because it's subtle, and he had it's subtle. You could see his hands glowing. And he's got his power is ready to go. So I thought that was a nice touch instead of the super glowing hands that I initially thought of. So pretty good. And Kelowna again, shout out to Kelowna. He did an amazing job. He really killed it over here. Amazing. And so we go to the second Sinners homage cover. So for this cover is not as popular as this one. I should say the movie poster that inspired this cover isn't as popular as this iconic one here. This one is a little less known. But when I saw the movie posters for this, as I was scouring Sinners movie posters to create an homage to, I love this because I thought it fitted Jonas perfectly. Because in the movie poster there was a guitar, and so it fits the characters and the mood of Crescent City Monsters perfectly. So I was like, we gotta put this into an homage. And again, Gian and Cloner just came through, like Kingsley here in the background, and what Cloner did with the eyes here is just killed. Let me see if I can zoom in. This is just crazy. Look at that. I mean, both these guys, the color work and the artwork is just amazing. You just drill in and you just see more, and you just appreciate more. That is so dope. So yeah, this is the homage cover, and it's crazy because I can't really. For me, both these covers are great. I can't decide which one I would like better. Actually, I gotta say though, because this is the more iconic one, I'd probably lean towards this one. Like like this would be like leaning towards this in the 10, and this is like 9.9999. So that's how close I think they are in terms of the thing. I love this one because it's got so many stories in one painting. You've got Kingsley here overlooking Jonas, and Jonas's relationship with his girl, and we've got Jonas's family here, and these are. Well, I'm not gonna surprise. I'm gonna keep that as a surprise as to who these guys are, and you can see the grunge here, and this is Jonas's house. So it tells so much in one picture. So that's why I love this one too. And then last but not least, I wanted an homage cover where I could just have some fun. And so as you can see here, this is, if you haven't recognized it yet, but this is a Akira motorcycle slide homage cover. I wanted to reach out to an artist who has more of that, is closer to the anime style of artwork. So I reached out to Paris Allen. He did a really great job here. I love the slide following by like the glowing motorcycle, indicating that Jonas is using his magic to kind of soup up the motorcycle. And this is Jonas's energy bolts. He's using that to help him slide or control the slide. So I thought, and Paris thought of that idea. I thought that was pretty cool because originally, when you look at the Akira slide, the writer always has his leg over here, and that's so you have three streams, right? The streams from the motorcycle wheels, and then usually the third stream comes from his legs on kind of dipping on the floor, causing the dust buildup or the dust kick up. And Paris was like, "Hey, why not we use his energy bolt to show to be that middle kick up?" So I thought that was a great idea, and you can see his energy bolt is like just ripping into the street. So that's pretty cool. Shout out to Paris Allen. He did a really great job at this Akira homage cover. I'm excited about this because this cover is a lot more fun. I wanted something that was like, hey, something that was like just universally cool. And I thought, why not do, and apparently, so this is, I think, so there are two, usually there are two that I know of, there may be more, but there are usually two kinds of Akira homage covers. You have this one here, right, the motorcycle slide, and then there's the one with the top level where he's walking towards the motorcycle, right? So the character's over here and the motorcycle's over here, and it's a top view. But this one is a little more difficult to pull off because you have to have it has to have that look like it's obviously sliding and he's tilting, and so it's got to be, and it's got to be energetic. So I think Paris Allen did a really great job at conveying two of those things. John is loving IT, says dope. Thanks, John. I appreciate it. Appreciate that a lot. So yeah, I've got that. So this is going to be another variant cover. So let me ask you guys a question. So we've got, these are going to be limited edition covers, right? And originally what I was going to do, I was going to make them Kickstarter exclusive covers that you could only get these 3 covers via Kickstarter. But then I felt like that might be, I love these covers so much that I wanted to make sure that I have enough people who actually are able to get these covers. So instead of Kickstarter exclusive, I decided to make them a limited edition. So wanted to know with you guys. So the limited edition, there's like, I'm going to start off at 3, right? 300 copies, but it might go up to more, right, than 300. It might be 500 things. So what do you guys think is the proper number of limited editions to really make it special? So say, hey, because I could go up to, I could say 1,500, and that's still pretty much limited edition, because 1,500 copies of a comic book is still not a lot in the scope of things. But then you have limited editions that go to, you can have 100 copies, but I think 100 copies is a little like, it's a little too, it's too niche. I mean, that would have to be some crazy thing. Anyway, so let me know what you think the maximum amount for an indie limited edition comic book should be, or what you think it is. So far, we're going to start with a limit of 300. And for these covers, it might be going up. Says, are you also streaming on Discord or Twitch? No, I'm not streaming on Discord or Twitch because I don't really have a big following on Twitch, and I don't have a big following on Discord either. So I know usually with Discord, which is a little different, you have to, from what I understand, the way that with the Discord streaming is you have to have your Discord actually have a certain amount of followers, and those are the, so let's say I had 100 followers on my Discord server, those are the only followers who are able to actually view my streaming, as opposed to more of the open platforms like Twitch or YouTube, where you can go beyond the number of people following you or subscribing. So for me, Discord, since I don't have that many followers in Discord, I never really try to build into that. But I've been thinking about it. doing a Discord, because one of the advantages of Discord is you, there's no algorithms involved, right? You have full control over what you say to your audience. There's no one controlling your content. If you want to put your Kickstarter link in your content, you can do that without the algorithm showing less of it. So that's my long way of saying no. I'm not streaming on Discord or Twitch, but you never know. It might be a possibility in the future. But for my Kickstarter, my current Kickstarter, I'm mostly focusing on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I might switch the YouTube over to LinkedIn. I can stream to LinkedIn if I wanted to, because right now I'm on the StreamYard account, or the StreamYard plan, where I'm only limited to 3 platforms. So I'm not sure if I want to pay for the upgrade. Usually 3 is good, but like I said, those 3 platforms usually work. I'm not sure about X either, though. I was thinking about streaming on X, but I'm not sure. Like X, I don't really go on X a lot, and the platform itself has just become crazy. Like people just saying things out of pocket, and just it's too wild over there. But yeah, so continuing on, the project is what will we be funding? So right now, I'm asking for $20,000, and the reason I'm asking for that much money is I'm actually not. Usually, I pay the upfront cost of producing the book, right? But this time, just for some financial reasons, I can't afford to do that. So we're going to need the funding for paying Gian and the colorist, and usually I don't have a colorist, so that's an extra cost that I usually don't incur in creating the book. And this is going to be a 52-page book, so it's a little bit more expensive than what I normally have. So we're going with a $20,000 stretch goal. So that's what it's going to be funding. It's going to be funding paying Gian, the artist, cloner, the colorist, the letterer that we're going to have in the future, the editor, and getting the books printed. So that's what it's going to be funding. And don't worry, G and I have been doing this for a while, so we've got a great track record of delivering our books on time. So no worries about, you don't have to worry about getting your book a year later after we reach our goal. You'll definitely get it on time. And then we come to the stretch goals of the Kickstarter. Now this is, I'm super excited about this. Now we've got 2 stretch goals, right? The first stretch goal is going to be 30K, and the reason for that stretch goal, it's a pretty high stretch goal, right? And the reason behind that is that we want to go back and color issues 1 through 4 of Crescent City Monsters. So currently, issue 5 is going to be in full color, right? And if we reach the stretch goal of 30K, I'm going to unlock a brand new reward tier, and that reward tier will be the full color version of the collection, issues 1 through 4, which is about 124 pages. And so that's going to be super exciting if we can reach 30K and be able to offer you guys the full color version of issues 1 through 4. And this is one of the reasons why my campaign is a little bit longer than what I usually do. I've never had a campaign for more than 23 days, right? Usually less than a month. But this here is about 5 weeks. And the reason for that is because the way I envision this campaign is, so it's almost like 2 campaigns. The first campaign is going to be to fund the color version of, well, the 5th issue of Crescent City Monsters. And then the other half of the campaign is, once that's done, is going to be to reach the stretch goal, to be able to color the first 4 issues, and I really want to do that because I want the first 5 issues of Crescent City Monsters available in full color to the fans. I think that would be super dope, and get that done. I know a lot of people when I'm at comic book conventions, people love the artwork and when they flip through the book and thing. But one of the most uh, frequently asked questions I get is, does it come in color? So I'd love to be able to offer people in color, the book in color. And the one thing too, what I was thinking is, as a reward to all the people who are early backers of Crescent City Monsters from like way back and bought the black and white version, just to thank them for the support. I want to. I'm thinking about it, but I'm not sure how possible that is. It depends on what demand's like. I'm thinking about discontinuing the black and white version of Crescent City Monsters if I'm able to color the first 4 issues and just go strictly color, so that way anyone who has the black and white version of Crescent City Monsters, the first 4 issues, has a collector's item, right? There's no longer, the black and white will no longer be available, or maybe only available during my Kickstarters, but it's going to be a collector's item, and we're no longer printing the black and white. So that's what's kind of going through my mind, and that's why I'm super excited if we could reach this 30K goal. It does like those couple of things I mentioned. It provides the full color version of Crescent City Monsters. At the same time, if I discontinue the black and white version, then that could become or will become a collector's item, meaning that who's ever got the black and white versions, that's it's a limited edition, and you guys, that's pretty much it. No more, no more black and white version. Is pretty. It's just it'll be like, I guess, rare if you say that if you think about it. And then we've got the 42K stretch goal. Now, this is it. It seems like a lot of money, but it'll definitely be worth it. One of the things like I try to do is I try to make my stretch goals more about the book and the story. So with the 42K, I want to be able to add more content to the book because it's going to be 54 pages. And if I could add even more content to the book and because I've raised more money, then that's great. Because at that level, I'd probably be able to add more story to the book, right? Maybe like a little mini story to the book, and give you guys more content, giving you more content for the same amount of money that you pay. So it's kind of like a bonus for you guys, a way to thank you guys once we reach a certain amount. So I'm super excited. If I could do that, I want to create. I'm trying to figure out like I have a couple of story ideas in mind in terms of what I would add, or maybe I should just take a poll as to which character I should do a background story on and see where. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll take a poll of which characters. I'll take a poll from fans and ask them which character that they would like to see a background story on. So that'd be super dope. And then the next section of the Kickstarter, and everything I'm showing you is a preview. Right now, I haven't launched the Kickstarter. This is a preview page, and this is the page that I see while I'm working on the Kickstarter before I launch it. You guys, if you go to the URL in my bio, you won't see this page just yet. You'll have to you'll have to click the notify me button so you get the notification when it does launch. And again, we're launching tonight. I'm just going through these pages, making sure that there are no errors in it. I catch anything that I need to catch ahead of time, and dot my I's, cross my T's kind of thing. And so here we go. Let's see. Also keep up. Thank you. Thanks, John. Thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, so we've got, and this is the team. This is Gene Carlo Burnell and his son. This is an old picture. His son is a lot older. I follow Gene and his wife on Facebook, and his son is growing up. So this is when his son was younger, and this is the first issue of Crescent City Monsters. We're up to issue number 5, so definitely. Actually, this cover here is the Virgin cover. Well, it's not Virgin cover because it's got the title, but this is the original cover of Crescent City Monsters, issue number 1. The current cover is very different. So yeah, and then we've got Giancarlo Bernal, tells you a little bit about him, and then we've got our colorist Cloner. He does an amazing job. He likes to keep incognito, stay anonymous. So he didn't give us a profile picture. He gave this to us instead. He's a really cool guy. And then we have me, myself, Newton Lillevoix, little bio here, and the risks and challenges of the page. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I wanted to share with you guys a preview of the Kickstarter page before we launch. Let me exit this preview. But yeah, so as you can see, this is all the setups that you have to do while creating the Kickstarter. Actually, let's see what we have here. So I want to ask a question that you guys might want to answer. So part of the Kickstarter setup is you can charge shipping at pledge, or you can charge shipping post-campaign, meaning after the campaign ends, you'll be charged shipping. Or actually, no, when they're shipping out the books, you'll be charged the shipping. And I'm a fan of just paying for my Kickstarter project and not having to worry about some extra cost that comes up later. So that's why I chose charge shipping at pledge. And the reason why they keep this as an option is because sometimes there's a scenario where shipping costs may go up. So whatever you calculate for shipping costs at the time of your Kickstarter might not have been enough to cover future shipping costs. So some people go with this, but I usually ship USPS, and I don't believe they've been increasing prices for a little bit. I don't believe they'll increase price significantly enough where I'll be like, oh snap, my shipping costs are all out of whack. So I decided to go with this. And we've got late pledges, so I set it up so if there are people who missed the Kickstarter and totally forgot about it when they had intended on backing, we still have late pledges enabled. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I wanted to share with you guys the Kickstarter that we're going to be launching tonight. I've got the project is approved, so that's one of the things that as a Kickstarter, as you're building your Kickstarter project, that you have to be aware of, that you don't build the page and just launch it. There's a process where you have to submit it for approval, and you could get, if you didn't know that, you could kind of get messed up, because sometimes when you submit for approval, you can get approved in 2 minutes, right, through the automated system. But sometimes what happens is you get routed to the Kickstarter system where they actually like kind of go through your campaign and look through it. So that takes the time. That could take anywhere from like 12 hours to 3 days. Sometimes if you don't have your thing set up the way that you should, it could take up to 5 days. So like if you submit for approval, like let's say the day before you're supposed to launch, there's a good chance that you might not be able to launch the day that you expect, because the approval might take longer than you expect. So that's one of the things you have to take into consideration while going through this. But yeah, we've got a lot of the things set up. Like I said, I'm gonna go through this with a fine-tooth comb, make sure that I don't have any mistakes and I've calculated everything right. But yeah, make sure if you haven't, make sure you go to my link in my profile and click on the notify me when this launches. We're launching tonight. I'm going to do another live later tonight to go through the launching process. and hopefully, hopefully, it goes well. I'm sure it will. It's just a matter of like how much we raise within the first 2 days, because it's really important for the first the algorithm. If it picks up, if the Kickstarter algorithm picks up on the fact that you're getting all these pledges, they'll highlight your project a little more. And at the same time, you know, statistically speaking, if you get, I think 30 to 40% of your project within the first 2 days, you're more likely to make your goal that way. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to this Kickstarter. There's a lot of different things going on, new things that I'm trying. I've never launched on a Thursday. I think this is my first time. I usually launch on a Tuesday. I've never had a campaign that lasted more than 23 days. So this one is about 36 days. And I've never had a Kickstarter goal of this much, of 20,000. So it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be exciting. So I'm looking forward to it. Probably maybe I might do one more stream before I go live to celebrate the launch of the Kickstarter. Maybe this afternoon after I run some errands and look at my page a little bit more. But yeah, I'm looking excited. I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be exciting. And thank you for everybody who joined us. Catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.